Welcome to Financial Freedom with the Flipping Flanagans, where we help real estate agents and already successful business professionals create legacy wealth through real estate. We go by the Flipping Flanagans, and we don't actually flip houses very often. When you drop the F-bomb a little too often, add that to a real estate background, you get the Flipping Flanagans. We actually buy property to hold and see long-term gains protected from inflation while seeing amazing benefits from appreciation and depreciation. See you on the other side. All right, welcome back. So we realized we haven't been announcing our what episode we're on, so we just counted our episodes really quick.
Episode 15.
Episode 15. We're getting better about being consistent. Something that I coach and have to work on myself. So today we're talking about shifting your mindset about what you're spending your money on. And this really goes toward any business owner could really benefit from this information, but specifically real estate agents today. Go ahead.
And more so as it pertains to more like investing in your business and your craft and growing your business, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
So we have been asked, in fact, I got asked today, I got a Facebook message from a fellow EXP agent, and he was like, your production is, you've always had really high production. What do you pay for as far as lead sources go? And I am proud to say I don't pay any outside companies anymore for leads. I don't pay Realtor.com or Zillow or anything like that. I used to. And so I do have some feedback on that. A lot of agents that I know spend anywhere from $500 to $3,000 a month on Zillow leads, as well as other sources. Now, oftentimes we tell ourselves that there's a really great ROI if we're getting so many deals from it. However, when you really break it down, what I found with my team was we were focusing on people that we didn't know, which takes a little bit more time to nurture. It takes, not everyone that calls is going to convert right away. And our existing clientele base and our past clients who we really want to focus on and spend our energy on, then we weren't able to follow up with them and do the things that we wanted for them as far as like client appreciation events. And we were just, when you really analyze your time in your business, you have to look at the overall picture and your actual business as a whole and decide what makes the most sense. So something that's worked really, really well for us, because as investors, and this really stemmed from, it was kind of an accidental find. I started offering my clients, when I would meet with them for a listing appointment, the option to where we would buy their house and we would fix it up, and then they didn't have to live through any sort of painting or carpet repair. And so then we would purchase the house, we would do the updates, and then we would list it. Well, so often we're quick to give money away to Zillow and Realtor.com when that same money could be allocated toward purchasing a property and documenting, so we get to share on social media the whole process of it. And you really get to show now that you're relatable to your client. You get to show the journey from, allowing your seller to move out. So you just removed the stress for your seller. You've created a win because they get to move out, they get to get in their new house, you do all the work, you list it, you make a little bit of money on it, and you get to use that as marketing. And so for me, when I get to do that opportunity, I get to control the whole timeline. I'm not working around, and it's a mutual thing. It's not convenient for my client to have to leave for painters, and it's not easy for me to coordinate with the family and the painters to make sure that everything is working. Or somebody, let's say they have a sick kid at home, especially with COVID recently, there's so much. And I hate the word, I don't like the word chaos when we're talking about listing, because I don't ever want my clients to feel like it's chaotic, but it is chaotic when you're getting ready to sell and you're trying to get the home, show ready. Now, so we were able to use these opportunities, and I don't know, Brad, if you have any input, just cut in. But we were able to take these opportunities and share. So now I'm able to share them on social media. I'm able to help my clients. I'm able to ask my clients on Facebook, hey, what backsplash should we use? What flooring should we use? Which one would you pick? And now all of a sudden our clients are involved in the projects that we're doing. We're relatable. People are asking us questions, and our business ultimately grows because of it. And it was honestly, we got to make money off of the project versus paying for a lead source outside. So I can put a coming soon sign out in the yard, and I get to market it however I want. And There's all these opportunities. I can have open houses as much as I want and meet people and do neighborhood events maybe at the house. Whatever I want to utilize that specific property for, because now we own it. We can hone in on creating lots of lead opportunities, and we're improving our community because we're improving a home in the neighborhood and ultimately adding value to everyone's home in the area. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, some of the key points, like in the beginning where you're talking about analyzing and knowing what your expenses are, it's something that I end up like honing in on and drilling and saying, assuming at this point now that you have a P&L to run your business like a business and you can identify your budgets and actually plan. Otherwise, you're just transactional and you're selling a home and you're cashing a commission check and it's nice and big sometimes, but it comes after a lot of the funds were spent, and so not knowing the bottom line really makes it more difficult. So first and foremost, we're assuming that you're actually budgeting per property and overall and like general and overhead expenses. Then on the flip side, reallocating or identifying where to spend that money. So if we go all the way back to the beginning where we talked about Zillow, for example, and in the market where it was very fast paced, you had to make a business decision whether or not to ask that person if they were pre-qualified or if you wanted to actually grow the relationship with them and take the risk of meeting them face to face so you could actually convert them and then ask the wonderful question of, are you qualified to even get a loan or do you have the cash to buy this house? And so depending on your strategy, your resources, and your position in the business, you could probably make that determination. And, at the end of the day, you could calculate, okay, if I spent $12,000 on Zillow this year, I can trace this many leads. But depending on the market time where you're able to actually put them into your database, cultivate and nurture a relationship so that after that was, that expense was incurred, could you increase the profitability of it by bringing it under your relationship wing, for the lack of a better term? And when you talk about buying the real estate as an investment, now you're increasing your experience level and you are now more relatable to either those that are in the industry of or in the business of investing in real estate. You can be a resource to others who want to invest in real estate. And then, of course, you're stimulating your little local economy because I'm not laying the tile. I'm not putting a new HVAC system in or...
So on that note, though, actually, it's a really good thing is like cultivating the relationship with your vendors who should also be sending you business.
Absolutely.
So you're sending them business, which can also be reciprocated. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you weren't. I surely enjoy when it's more conversational. I was a little bit on the back seat here, kind of going along for the ride here in the beginning. I don't know if you noticed my little kind of sitting back and enjoying your conversation, but I'm all about that's what it is. It's the collaboration and the different points of view. So when you start doing that, like, do you have a team? What is your competitive advantage? I know we've talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
We have an added benefit that I'm over here on the finance side structuring and strategically planning the numbers, and you're over there strategically planning the improvements or the marketability and or the rent if we end up renting it instead of selling it, which I know we eventually did time and time again.
It's funny too, on the one I'm thinking of, we've done several where we plan most of the houses we keep, and we're very open that we don't flip very many houses. That's not our goal. It's a long-term strategy. However, we did purchase a house and with the goal of 100% flipping it and making some money on it. But we ended up having a client who their home wasn't done in time, so they were able to move into the house for a couple months while we actually coordinated contractors around them living there because we had already scheduled some things. And it was just, that's where, so actually at my recent talk, I was talking about your competitive advantage even within rentals and finding Like every business has a competitive advantage. We're not just a landlord. We're solving problems for people. We're solving the problem of people that their build wasn't done in time, and we have a furnished house that we can then rent out to them for a month or two, or an unfurnished house if they need it. And we've got all kinds of different solutions. So basically, if anyone comes to me with a real estate need, no matter what it is, my goal is to be able to solve it or find somebody, maybe if I can't solve it, but I definitely know somebody who can. And you need to be your community resource.
Well, and that was probably not the most bang up project from a flip standpoint, like,
Mm-mm.
or just an overall investment. But then when you look at every opportunity that you have in every execution, you go back to the marketing. Like that kitchen, that renovation, although could have been way more comprehensive if we wanted to do the exterior and try to like put everything under the sun into it, but we really just solved the seller's need because we didn't
Yeah.
even seek that deal out. Um,
Yeah, another agent actually referred the seller to us because they knew that we purchased houses and they were trying to write an offer for the client on another house. And so it was really, hey, I heard that they buy properties. We happen to live down the street, so it worked out really well. We were very familiar with the area, and we solved the seller's need, and we didn't end up making any money on that property. When you actually look at
the buy and the sell and
yeah,
the improvements, but
so from a flip standpoint,
correct, yeah.
yeah.
So then it's kind of nice though to take the ancillary benefits and the rental carrying the cost and offsetting the cost of borrowing the money and buying us time with the contractors and all that good stuff, or being able to work around them. And
we
I'm pretty
still
sure there's a
have
sign in the
referrals.
yard, and it's continued to go up in value. And I don't. Where was that kitchen featured somewhere? I remember.
No, it wasn't, but I posted about that kid. I posted in the Omaha moms group, and it was like super funny. It was like my favorite Canva thing I've ever done. I put my picture in the kitchen behind the island, and I like blew up my picture so I looked huge in the kitchen, and it was like it had so many comments,
Yeah.
and people remembered. They were like, "Oh my gosh!" Like just the funny thing. It just was like it ended up being a really good marketing piece for me. And we had
It
our
was
open
the biggest
house.
open house I think I've ever been to.
I had 4 or 5 agents. My entire team plus admin staff were there, all with clients the entire time, just answering questions and walking people through. I got listing appointments out of it. We still get referrals, so they ended up referring us a house that we purchased in Midtown, and we ended up turning that into an Airbnb for a little while. We ended up selling that one and making actually a very significant profit. So yeah, that house didn't necessarily pan out from a flip standpoint. However, the residual opportunities that have come after have been very profitable.
Yep.
And the seller of that house in Midtown actually purchased again with us and referred us somebody in like La Vista, and it was really cool because it literally just kept giving. And it was when we were looking at the opportunity to help a local seller in our area. And obviously, when we initially ran the numbers, it was going to be profitable. It just didn't end up being that way. You run into things like HVAC issues that we had no idea were going to come up, and things happen. And
market timing.
it was the only house we've broke even on.
Right.
So if you look at, I don't know how many we've done, probably 10, but every other one was profitable. So you can't win them all, and that's okay. It was a great learn. Again, we made significant profit overall.
So at the end of the day, the circle back to the goal around this podcast is mostly like identifying the best use of your marketing dollars or your investments, and how can you complement the other areas of your life that bring you financial gains.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, we are in maybe a unique situation where you have a lender real estate agent partnership marriage.
But coincidentally, Brad, don't you help everyone, not just me?
Exactly. And you don't really work with buyers even. So
no. I know we that was so funny. So I was at the Girls with Grit event a couple weeks ago, and we were no, it was actually a lunch and learn I had, and somebody brought up the fact of like the lender marriage relationship, and I was like, well, it's like, I'm really a listing agent, and I don't work with many buyers, and people will like reference stuff like they think that I know, and I'm like, I have no, me and Brad do not share like client data, nothing, and it's so funny because I'm like, people think that I know things about them. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't know, and we just keep it very separate, but he's amazing at what he does. And actually, somebody came to me at the Real Producers event and was like, "Your husband just saved my husband's deal," and it was so cool because another lender completely told him no, and so it's just really interesting. And actually, recently talking about investment properties. There's investment loans out there that you just need to call Brad and talk through because he is so well rounded when it comes to knowing what's available and shifting when products shift and products change, guidelines change. And so right now, I know something that I'm going to be really working with my team on is as the market does kind of, where it's a little bit slower, which is great. Like if you are thinking about buying, now is the time, I swear to you, and you can listen to our last episode explaining why that is. But it's absolutely the time to buy. And investors have a huge opportunity right now because if they can pick up as and it's not going to, this right now isn't going to last very long. People are going to realize, okay, it is a good time to buy still, and everything, in my opinion, it's not going to last. So take advantage of the current market that we're in while we have it. Just like the seller's market where people were bidding 50,000 over asking didn't last. If you took advantage while you were in it, great. If not, no big deal.
Caused this situation because of COVID and stimulus, and you print a bunch of money, you've got to figure out how you're going to make it back up. People are scared right now because the IRS is getting a bunch of money in their budget, and they're thinking they're going to go back and do some audits. So what we need to understand is that, what we've seen, an influx of homes actually hitting the market to sell, and it's kind of like a little late to the party.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's out of fear or what's causing that influx of inventory, or if it's maybe just the reservations of a buyer because they think interest rates are too high, or if people are concerned with the values. But at the end of the day, yes, we just came out of summer, which is normally slower anyways, because when do you go on vacation? And when you have your kids, like, why are you going to go and have a bunch of market activity walking around in 100-degree weather
right.
and 100% humidity.
In Omaha, it's pretty hot.
So at the end of the day, yes, thank you for the compliment on the financing side. There are so many ways to obtain financing, so many different types of loans that are out there. Whether or not I originate it, I'm still having the phone calls, and I'm just not wired to say, sorry, I can't help you, on to the next. It's how do we help you, or who can I connect you with that can help you get this done? Because if you wondered why that's a motivation, one, I think that whatever's good for our economy is good for everybody. And the second part of that is I would rather be the problem solver, regardless of being the originator of a loan. If I can connect you with the end servicer that's going to do it, you're going to call me back the next time because I'm going to find the solution for you. So hopefully that's a good enough reason, and that works out for others and my benefit. But don't be afraid just because you think you wrote off all of your income that there's not a loan out there for you. Or
right. I think self-employed borrowers are like one of your favorite people to work with is the self-employed.
Well, it's just a different conversation.
Yeah.
There's more optimism in me than maybe most, but I remember coming into this business in 2005 and having more of a motivation by the time it was 2009, as we had our first child. Like, you have to go out and earn a living. It was pretty much optional before I was responsible for another human. And so at that point in time, you're coming out of the 08 issues, and I just wanted to figure out how to do every loan possible, whether it was a broker deal, whether it was a correspondent deal, whether it was a unique program. I was figuring out where to place that. And so that took a lot of looking at tax returns. Obviously, investors were very different from a risk standpoint on the cusp of highest defaults and all that stuff back in '08. So I kind of said, I'm never going to forget where I came from. Like, those challenging transactions are what allowed me to be a provider in the family and allowed me to have the finances to start investing. So why would I say, hey, just now that I've established a database and that I have this recurring business and repeat clients, and why would I say I'm not willing to work as hard for those more, I guess, challenging transactions, the ones that require more paperwork analysis and such. So our team has become very technical in that approach. You may or may not want to know the details. We will give you the option to have the long, boring conversations and know the ins and the outs, or we'll just put our heads down and get to work. It's catered to the person and their preferences every time.
Yes, absolutely. So, and Brad and I do. So, Brad, where can you do loans? All over, right? Pretty much all over, or you have referral sources everywhere.
Yes. So there is not really going to be a geographic limit. I personally have limitations on my license to be the signing loan officer on the application, but that doesn't mean I can't connect with those who are licensed in the states that I might not be licensed in.
Yes. So in this episode, we will put a link to connect with us on in the details. So go ahead and click on that link if you do want to schedule a consultation with Brad or I. And again, like he said, he's great at digging into the tax returns and really understanding the self-employed taxes, and even if there's no income showing, there's probably still a loan for you. Usually self-employed people are pretty good about investing, and we know how to make money. So if we can build it and keep it, so building that case and showing that you're a good person to lend money to. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. So this is the end of episode 15, and we will continue to roll these out and stay consistent.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We hope you'll hit that subscribe button to stay in touch. Also, join our Facebook group at Building Legacy Wealth Through Real Estate to find out more about what we do and what we offer. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.